Hi there, welcome to Night Timeline Talks. President Trump says that he will keep fighting against this pandemic in any phase, any condition, any situation. He says that the priority is save lives of Americans and end this problem. What I really agree, honestly, I believe that we have to support that part. Because if you see every other hour, every day, he's putting his best to fight with every element he has available. And the experts for the Center of Disease Control honestly caught my attention that the director says that he is pre-diabetic and his wife is under cancer treatments, and he considered the use of the mouth cover as a key part to prevent this pandemic spill all over the world. I really agree. And the experts that President Trump has around every day, they find out that the best situation is test every person that has the symptoms. As soon as they test, they have to isolate these people and make a brief interview checking the names of people they've been in direct contact or the places they visit. Why? Because they can make a circle and suggest isolation of everyone and proceed with the test. Yesterday I was so happy. I visited Costco and I saw they already put lines on the floor limiting the distance, the social distance, the new social distance, 6 feet, 2 meters, whatever you want to call in any system, that has to be respected. Also, what caught my attention in my Spanish show with my editorial partner Placido Garza is that he broke an interview with a famous blogger in Latin America called Arturo Islas Allende. Arturo Islas Allende. He was one of the people who was supporting Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Well, guess what? Yesterday he published on his social networks that he declined that sponsorship because he saw that the Mexican president is betraying the Mexican population, doing nothing to help on this pandemic. And guess what? He says in Spanish that this pandemic is coming like the ring to the finger. In Spanish, that proverb is when we like to say that a situation is very accurate to manipulate something. And is the language the Mexican president used. La pandemia me cayó como anillo al dedo. This pandemic comes like the ring to my finger. Why? Because in terms of politics, he can limit actions on the society, he can control easier everyone, and he is thinking on the further elections in 2021. And why not the possible re-election? Andrés Manuel López Obrador, the Mexican president, he has majority in both chambers. Yeah, legislators and senators are majority from his party, Morena. And this means that he can manipulate some laws and do many changes on his own convenience, what is very risky to Mexicans, especially when we saw the president not respecting the international organization's advice to stop the pandemic. He was shaking hands with everyone. Just last week, he met with National Guard members, around 5,000, and he shook hands and take selfies, pictures with many of them. He kissed kids, and he did a very responsible actions. Why? He doesn't care. He likes popularity. And if a problem, a risky problem like this pandemic, is going to make him more popular, he's going to do it. He doesn't care. He doesn't feel the responsibility of act under the normativity that rules a president. He is populist. He is acting like Hugo Chavez in Venezuela and Nicolás Maduro or Fidel Castro. The same actions, kissing people, hugging people. But behind the scenes, you don't know how many things they can do just to remain on the power. That is risky. That is unsafe. A group of Mexican businessmen is trying to meet with Alfonso Romo, the partner of Ramon Alberto Garza, the former owner of Reporte Indigo, with Alfonso Romo. And they receive a lot of advertisement from the governments of Veracruz and Tamaulipas, fat checks that fill their pockets with money to keep going with their dirty minds to support politicians like it. Is sad. Is sad. Ramon Alberto Garza left the responsibility of Magenta report on his daughter's responsibility. And he is in Texas helping his new wife administrating a restaurant because she is chef and he became a chef too. And even he saw many business of portable houses in Italy. That doesn't bring success to his pockets. He's still doing bad things. I am very sad and I can't believe it. Somebody who was my boss, my example in the fair journalism, my example in honesty. I understand why many friends told me that if Ramon Alberto Garza is in a, if Alejandro Junco de la Vega, the owner of Grupo Reforma, is in a restaurant and Ramon Alberto Garza came in, Alejandro walked out automatically. And many friends explained me, because I was wrong at the beginning when the editorial director of the newspaper of Grupo Reforma in Guadalajara, I believe is Mural or whatever, he explained how Ramon Alberto was fighting for the whole money or his part on the sale of Infocel. Infocel, Información Selectiva, it's been sold to a Spanish group of internet, and they paid $20 million to the brothers Junco de la Vega. This Spanish group, very powerful, by Infocel, a great database reference for business. Imagine this, the people who lives in America and other countries. Infocel has information that later is being sold for more than $20 million to Nexus Lexus. Nexus Lexus is a huge database worldwide. They have one branch here in Atlanta. In Atlanta, in Alpharetta, they compile the insurance investigation information. All the insurance companies, when they are running a legal case, they go to databases to investigate if a person who is suing another insurance company has been sued somebody else in the past. And that information gives them power to proceed legally in courts, no matter where it is coming from. Meanwhile, the information is trustable, is a good source, and InfoCell has that. It is a very, very good trustable source to follow up. And Nexus Lexus has bases. I have friends working there. When I was research coordinator on Turner Broadcasting System, we worked together in many issues, many projects. Imagine CNN look information all the time for some stories, and I have to look in confirm information, but they also sometimes need information from me, and then we become good friends. Well, at that time, this Spanish company fully execute the sale with brothers Junco de la Vega to buy InfoCell. And what happens is that Ramon Alberto he doesn't agree with the percentage of the money that he received, I believe $2 million, and Alejandro Junco like to pay in parts. And that is the reason why he disappointed. But when close friends told me what Ramon Alberto Garza was doing behind, betraying the brothers Alejandro and Rodolfo Junco de la Vega to use the trustability of the El Norte newspaper and Reforma newspaper and all the editorial group to make his personal business, oh, what a sad story. Ramon sold his pen to the evil. And sorry with the brothers Alejandro and Rodolfo Junco for suffering this situation, because they support to Ramon Alberto. They pay his tuition in Texas, in UT, and they pay him a very fancy house in the high-scale neighborhoods in Monterrey, Mexico. And he has to escape from that places because he's pointing with the finger. Everywhere he goes, everybody knows in Monterrey. Let me check something because everybody's contact me and sometimes they take me out of context. So that situation is affecting a lot. And what happens is the Fifi press is the way President López Obrador calls the high-scale journalists of Grupo Reforma, is very affected. Why? Because the president is using the populism to attack every time Grupo Reforma says something true. And as Ramon Alberto Garza is partner in business with Alfonso Romo, and they exchange a lot of information and too much money, that is affecting both sides. It's affecting the truth because they play with interest. And Terra is the Spanish company that buy InfoCell. Before they close the deal, an executive calls me, and we met in Atlanta, and was asking me my experience and what I do think about brothers Junco de la Vega, my respect for them. And I always tell them, the only person that I believe is very unpredictable. And I don't say only that, also Don Ricardo Maña del Castillo always told me that. Don Abelardo Leal told me that. Oh, Frank, be careful. That muchachito Ramon is not trustable. Don't let him play with your life. And what a golden advice he gave me. He saves my life many times. And my dad was right. Pay attention to an elderly man an elder, an old man, has the experience. And when they talk to you straight, it's because they like you become like them and they don't play games with you. And I was so blessed. Mr. Abelardo Leal, the person that helped Brothers Junco de la Vega legally, he and his father helped to the Familia Junco de la Vega to sustain the ownership of the newspapers of the group. Otherwise, they will lose the newspapers with the powerful companies that brew beer all over the world. Anyway, that's another story. We can talk later. But the point here is Ramon doesn't understand the lesson. He is playing with fire and he's jeopardizing probably a good attitude Alfonso Romo has to help, because remember, Ramon Alberto Garza and Alfonso Romo met with Marta Sahagún, the wife of Vicente Fox, because they like to launch a new political party in Mexico, according to their words, to promote democracy and bring the honest government to Mexicans. They couldn't do it. Now they support and they pull. Ramon Alberto was the one who pulled the daughter of the famous and prominent opposition politician Juan Manuel Cloutier. His daughter was the mastermind on the press or coordination for the campaign of Andrés Manuel López Obrador. And this lady, who currently is a congresswoman for Nuevo León, is the mastermind, but she doesn't move anywhere without the advice of Ramon Alberto Garza. Yeah. And she recognized that with some friends. And what happens is this situation is going to change the scenario, the political scenario, in not only in Monterrey, because she likes to become governor, nationwide scenario. And if you've seen, Ramon Alberto Garza is a kingmaker. He doesn't face anything. From his own isolation in Texas, helping his wife, who is chef from Peru, is trying to advise his daughter for Código Magenta and advise the daughter, Tatiana Cloutier, the daughter of Juan Manuel Cloutier, in everything they are doing. What happens with this is Alfonso Romo disappoint, and Alfonso Romo start to call Ramon Alberto my stepbrother that don't makes me happy anymore. He doesn't like close Ramon Alberto Garza anymore because Ramon Alberto Garza is hyper. He jumps as soon as he heard something he can use to affect somebody. He start to use the blackmail. He did with the brothers Junco de la Vega. He did with many people. And he always used good people like Marta Treviño. I send a hug to Marta. Wonderful journalist. The real person behind the golden times of El Norte in Reforma newspaper, behind the columns Maquiavelo, behind the column Plaza Mayor, respectively, is Marta Treviño. Even Ramon just say, oh, I wrote those columns. No, it's Marta Treviño. Marta Treviño is the smart girl behind every project. And Alejandro Junco de la Vega, Sr., and Alejandro Junco de la Vega, Jr., depends still a lot on Miss Marta Treviño, who is professionally educated as a teacher. She was also in UT in Texas. She speaks perfectly English, she's perfectly bilingual, and she can translate simultaneously any piece you put in front of her. It is why the front or the cover page of El Norte, when there are big stories about relationships, mutual relationship or bilateral relationship between the governments of Mexico and USA, Marta is the one that approach her skills and don't let any word and any concept is misspelled and misunderstood. Only Marta Treviño can do that, and she is perfect. My respect. Marta Treviño and Don Abelardo Leal are icons in Grupo Reforma. And unfortunately, everybody clap Ramon, clap Rodolfo. Rodolfo spent all the time with the legs over the desk, watching the reporter's legs. And when he has free time, he goes to NASCAR races with his son. Is what he loves to do. I believe that now he's happy. He has his NASCAR car and his son races everywhere with El Norte logo or Grupo Reforma, whatever. He feels happy. But this is not only a tribute to Marta Treviño and Don Abelardo Leal. This is a call for the thousands of readers of Grupo Reforma, El Norte, Reforma, Mural, wherever, because many people is still falling on this emptiness of power generated by the populist government of Andrés Manuel López Obrador. And this situation is risky. It's jeopardizing the stability of a country and the stability of two mutual partners, Mexico and United States. And this is a serious business. Beyond that, many situations can happen. I have 2 college degrees, one in mass media in Universidad Regiomontana, tuition paid by Alejandro Junco de la Vega, thank you. The other one I gained a scholarship in ITT Tech. And I really love it because I need to be current on the new digital technologies. Imagine supervising the commercial breaks of Fox Television on 20 signals is important. It's a job that deserves a lot of responsibility. Also, the jobs I did in Time Warner, Turner Broadcasting, require a lot of good knowledge on technology. But the point here is that people who is listening, that has friends, relatives in Mexico, or who currently lives in Mexico, because there is a bunch of Americans living in San Miguel de Allende, in Monterrey, in Toluca, in many places, for business or for pleasure. Many people live there and love it. We need to help stabilizing the system. We need to send emails or letters to the current government of Andrés Manuel López Obrador to make him understand, takes his actions serious, because the consequences of his mistakes are going to his front head. Now, if this pandemic made Mexico fall completely, he doesn't have Peña Nieto, López Portillo, Salinas de Gortari to blame. He can go, just for the way he answered lately, his points of view about this pandemic, he can go like the worst president in the history of Mexico, because he is showing that his ignorance is bigger than the ignorance of the whole country. He doesn't understand the responsibility he is assuming or if he understands, he is sharing and delegating responsibility in many people that has no idea what they are doing. It's serious. And the main point is that Alfonso Romo is the right hand, or is the kingmaker of this government, but he is not meeting the expectations of the actions the government has to take. Alfonso Romo has the fingerprint of Monterrey Group. Alfonso Romo is a very successful entrepreneur and businessman from Monterrey, and he has to prove that his group is enough qualified to help the president. If he can do it, get out of there. Or if you are covering lies and mistakes, get out of there too. Because the day Mexicans give you the invoice for such mistakes, you will not have enough money to pay back to Mexico. The poverty generated by that populism that is not helping. Remember what the Bible says. If you like and love people, don't give them the fish. Train them to become fishers. And everything we have to do is work. I don't mind if they help people in need, people who is ill, people who needs money because they are with heart conditions, cancer, whatever. That justifies. But help young people, just money they are spending on their social activities, I saw that. It's unacceptable. As unacceptable is that the Mexican president is not traveling to meet with his main commercial partners like the United States and face-to-face discuss the issues. He received commissions of the brother-in-law of the American president, Kushner and whatever, Secretary of State. No. Even they are qualified to solve situations, Mexican president has to assume his responsibility. Go to United States, go to the official meetings and meet with all other presidents that Mexico has partnerships and face solutions. If he doesn't that, is because he doesn't care, and I don't know what he is going to inform this afternoon. More populism? Get out of here. Thank you. Have a good night.